Mr. Bill Kindler, Western Washington University class of 1965, is your commencement speaker. Shortly after he arrived at Western in 1960, an introductory chemistry course with Professor Lowell Eddy ignited Mr. Kindler's lifelong passion for science and for learning. He went on to earn a doctorate and build a career in the paper products industry, working at Crown Zellerbach and James River Corporations and at Rayonier. Mr. Kindler ranks mentoring and training colleagues amongst his proudest professional accomplishments. Now he and his wife, Trudy, continue that tradition by funding the Lowell Eddy Summer Research Fellowship, which gives chemistry students the opportunity to participate in faculty-led research. Mr. Kindler is also a member of the College of Sciences and Technologies Leadership Board and chair of the Development Committee. Bill and Trudy, who met in freshman English here at Western, are now retired on the Olympic Peninsula, where he hikes, fishes, and builds wooden boats. Please join me in welcoming a distinguished graduate and friend of Western Washington University, Bill Kindler.
Thank you, President Shepard. You know, if you ever worry about the direction that this world is going in, what the future holds, all you have to do is hang around with young people like Annalise, and boy, all your worries go away, don't they? I always love coming to this campus, but today's really a special day to visit because it gives me an opportunity to share in your celebration and to offer my congratulations along with all the others. I can tell you it's a far cry from when I first stepped on this campus, which was over 50 years ago. At that time, I was a lost soul. Boy, I had no sense of direction, no purpose, no goals. My first year of college was an academic disaster. In fact, Professor Brewster would be appalled if he knew who was standing in front of you right now. I worked really hard just to get a D in his speech class. That might not bode well for you folks for the next few minutes. It was a really good thing, though, that happened in that first year, and that was in freshman English class. I met a beautiful young woman named Trudy, and we went on to get married and are continuing to enjoy life's adventures together. I barely managed to return for a second year, and when I did, an amazing thing happened. I stumbled into a beginning chemistry class, and for whatever reason, the lights came on. For the first time, I began to experience that excitement that comes with learning and understanding. I was so excited, I changed my major to chemistry. I went on to graduate school and started my career as a research scientist. So if you think about it, two of the most important things in my life, my family and my career, were born right here on this campus. So that's why I get a real special pleasure when I have an opportunity to give back to Western in any form. And I hope you new graduates today, I hope you all have that same sense of attachment to our alma mater. Active minds, changing lives. I tell you that is so very important because the meaning of our own lives is determined by the extent to which we're able to improve the lives of others. The older we get, the more we understand just how important that really is to us. But we also know that the rate and the magnitude of the change that we're able to bring about is in direct proportion to the quality of the leadership that we bring to bear. Some people say leaders are born. I don't think so. I think they're made. Furthermore, I think that great leadership begins with nothing more complicated than a great attitude. And you all have seen it. It's a kind of a positive attitude that's prevalent in all of the best leaders. You can describe it as being optimistic, quietly confident, enthusiastic, and compassionate. As I moved through my career, more and more I would look for people that displayed this attitude because my experience proved that these were the people that had the highest probability of success. The opposite's also true. A lot more careers have been derailed because of a bad attitude than by any lack of technical skills. A great example of attitude-driving leadership is Sir Ernest Shackleton. He was leading an attempted polar crossing when his ship got trapped and crushed in the ice, stranding himself and 27 crew members. For nearly 2 years, they traveled by foot and by rowboat, living off the land, searching for a way back to civilization. In the end, everyone survived. Amazingly, everyone survived. Through it all, Shackleton's optimistic and confident attitude never wavered. This inspired the men. It raised their morale, it brought out the best in each of them, and it enabled them to persevere. A great piece of leadership, a good lesson for all of us. Now here's another really powerful thought about attitudes, and it comes from Viktor Frankl, who was a psychiatrist in Vienna in the late 30s. After spending the war years in a Nazi concentration camp, he wrote a book entitled Man's Search for Meaning, in which he described his experiences, and then he talked about the things that he learned as a result of those experiences. And one of the most important lessons that he leaves for us is as follows, and this will be a direct quote. Everything can be taken from a man or woman, but one thing, the last of the human freedoms to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. Freedom to choose one's attitude. That is so empowering, because what that says is our attitude is not something that we're born with, nor is it something that is imposed upon us by our environment, but it's something that we freely choose. So that means nothing prevents us from choosing that positive attitude that's a prerequisite to great leadership. I know sometimes it's kind of hard to maintain that attitude when facing some of the realities of the day. We're all familiar with budget cuts, the economy, unemployment, global warming, the list goes on and on. So on the one hand, these things make it tough, but on the other hand, these are the very reasons that you and I have to be at our leaderly best. Never before has a generation seen the incredible technological advances that you are going to experience in your lifetime. It's our hope and our expectation that you apply these technologies in ways that solve problems and improve lives of others, so you don't have time to get discouraged. So how do we keep from getting discouraged? Well, sometimes you never know where life's little lessons might pop up. Several years ago, I took a native carving class. As we were working on our projects, the instructor said, "Hey, you guys know the secret to a happy and successful life? It's real simple," he said. "It's just 2 words. It's now and wow." Now means live in the present. Don't dwell on what might have happened yesterday, and don't get hung up in worrying about what might happen tomorrow, but instead focus all of your energies on doing today's job the very best that you can. And then he went on to say, and look for those things that are going to make you say, wow, they're all around you. You might find them in the beauty of a hike in the mountains, or maybe in seeing your grandchild catch their first trout on a dry fly. Maybe it'll be an act of kindness performed by a stranger, or perhaps you just read about a miracle cure for a deadly disease. The point is, they're all around if you look for them, all different places. Now here's the magic. Living in the now and constantly seeking the wow practically guarantees that we can maintain that positive outlook no matter how tough things get. So there it is. It's about that simple. Changing lives requires great leadership. Great leadership requires great attitudes. And a great attitude is something that we freely choose. We can help maintain that attitude by living in the now, seeking the wow. I'll quote another famous philosopher, Groucho Marx, when he said, "Those are my principles, and if you don't like them, I can change them." Well, not really. I won't change them, of course. Those principles worked for Shackleton, they worked for Frankl, they worked for our Native Americans, they worked for me, they'll work for you. Okay, this is where your speaker normally signs off by wishing you good luck. But you know and I know that luck isn't going to change lives, is it? Changing lives takes hard work. It takes good judgment, applied with a positive attitude. So instead of wishing you luck, here are 4 things that I wish for you graduates. Number 1, an optimistic and a confident and a compassionate attitude. Number 2, the capacity to do hard work enthusiastically. Number 3, the discipline and the wisdom to always exercise good judgment. And finally then, I wish for you all of the joys and all the satisfactions that will surely flow therefrom. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Bill.